of Northfield. My name is Beth Goodell. My wife Janet Scannell and I have been members here for 10 years, following many more years of membership at a UU congregation in Philadelphia. UUFN is an inclusive community that nurtures spiritual and intellectual growth and fosters ethical and social responsibility. If you are a visitor, either on site or online, we are glad you are with us, and we invite you to stay after the service to get acquainted. We welcome your questions and look forward to getting to know you. Later in the service today, we will take our Share the Plate offering as a way to care for the wider world. This month's Share the Plate recipient is Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light. This organization works in partnership with multi-faith communities across the state to co-create a just and sustainable world by addressing the climate crisis. The Green Team here at UUFN chose Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light as our Share the Plate recipient for April in honor of Earth Day. UUFN is using Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light to provide local legislative action opportunities to supplement the UUA Green Sanctuary Program, moving UUFN forward to live our faith and values through effective and sustained action on climate justice. Thank you for giving as you are willing and able. During the offering later, you may put cash or a check in the basket or donate online from our website, uunorthfield.org. If your check is for your pledge, simply write pledge on the memo line. There will also be instructions on the screen during the offertory time. I call your attention to the announcements in your order of service and weekly email. There you'll find more information about the following. Our new Middle School Plus group will meet next week during the service, facilitated by Reverend Sara. This group is theoretically for grades 6 to 8, but any youth in grades 5 and up are welcome to attend. Mid-America Regional Assembly is Friday, April 19th and Saturday, April 20th. This is a time for UUs from across the Mid-America region to come together both online and in person in Madison, Wisconsin. Join us next Sunday for Sensing the Web of Life, Rethinking Our Relationship with Animals with Janet Scannell. Again, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northfield.
Thank you. Hallelujah. Today, we launch our long-anticipated capital campaign, Widening the Circle. I am the Reverend Sara Smalley. I serve this congregation as its minister, and I'm so proud of you all. When I say this Sunday is our capital campaign launch, it might sound like this is an insider Sunday, that non-members are left out, and I want you to know that that is not true. This Sunday is about the extraordinary dedication and generosity of members, but not because they're part of some exclusive club. The point of all of this is so that we can widen our circle, to go beyond what constrains us and expand our building, expand our hearts, expand our community, expand our awareness and our lived experience of this month's theme, the gift of interdependence. In that spirit, our opening words are "Community Means Strength" by Starhawk. We are all longing to go home to some place we have never been, a place half remembered and half envisioned. We can only catch glimpses of it from time to time. Community. Somewhere there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throat. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter, a circle of healing, a circle of friends, someplace where we can be free. Come, let us worship together.
The flaming chalice is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. Each Sunday when we gather, we bring this symbol to life together. Please join me in speaking the words for the lighting of the chalice. Let us open our eyes to see what is beautiful. Let us open our minds to learn what is true. Let us open our hearts to love one another. Please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are.
We sang that song on the first Sunday I was your minister, and it makes me cry every time. We now move into our time of centering and connection. I invite you to allow yourself an unhurried breath, to recognize the sacredness of your body in this moment. Rest in the embrace of a wider love. In the presence of this love that holds us all, we use our chalice flame to light our candles of community. We light our first candle as a blessing for the wider world. It has been 6 months today since the horrible attack by Hamas on southern Israel that killed 1,200 people, physically injuring thousands more, and with 250 people taken hostage. From Reverend Katie Scudera, adapted. As Unitarian Universalists, we condemn these acts of terrorism and mourn with those whose loved ones were killed or kidnapped. In the past 6 months, the Israeli military response has killed over 30,000 Gazans, including over 10,000 children. 10,000 children. Injured 70,000 more people, and internally displaced nearly 2 million Gazans, nearly 80% of the population displaced. As Unitarian Universalists, we condemn this ongoing violence against civilians, and as our national denomination has declared, we work for a ceasefire and unrestricted humanitarian aid. We mourn that the killing of civilians and children can leave a deep soul wound in individual soldiers and in complicit individuals and nations, including our own. And that violence between Hamas and the Israeli government has incited a terrible rise in anti-Semitism and Islamophobia worldwide. And we allow ourselves to feel a little hope with this morning's news that a significant number of Israeli troops are withdrawing from the southern Gaza Strip. May this be momentum towards peace and not a strategy of war. To mark this 6-month anniversary today we hold a moment of silence together to shore up our courage and resolve to do our small and essential part in working for peace and justice in our community and in our world, and to silently wing our individual prayers and hopes to all who are suffering. May peace, justice, and healing prevail. We know, too, that the details of our lives are sacred and important. We now light a candle for all of the simple joys that are sustaining us. And we light another candle in honor of the sorrows and hardships we may be carrying. One more candle in honor of the joys and sorrows we carry in our hearts, but that have not been spoken out loud. And we move into a time of silence, listening to the truth of our own beating hearts. Amen, and blessed be.
We will now expand our circle of care as we gratefully give and receive our Share the Plate offering for Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light. One way we make our care for the world tangible. Will the ushers please come forward? Thank you, Will. Our first reading is I Want to Be with People by UU minister, the Reverend Dana Warsnop. Often people say that they love coming to a place with so many like-minded people. I know just what they are getting at, and I know that they aren't getting it quite right. I don't want to be with a bunch of people who think just like me. I want to be in a beloved community where I don't have to think like everyone else to be loved, to be eligible for salvation. I want to be with people who value compassion, justice, love, and truth, though they have different thoughts and opinions about all sorts of things. I want to be with independent-minded people of good heart. I want to be with people who have many names or no name at all for God. I want to be with people who see me in my goodness and dignity, who also see my failings and foibles, and who still love me. I want to be with people who feel their interconnection with all existence and let it guide their footfalls upon the earth. I want to be with people who see life as a paradox and don't always rush to resolve it. I want to be with people who are willing to walk the tightrope that is life and who will hold my hand as I walk mine. I want to be with people who let church call them into a different way of being in the world. I want to be with people who support, encourage, and even challenge each other to higher and more ethical living. I want to be with people who inspire one another to follow the call of the Spirit. I want to be with people who covenant to be honest, engaged, and kind, who strive to keep their promises and hold me to the promises I make. I want to be with people who give of themselves, who share their hearts and minds and gifts. I want to be with people who know that human community is often warm and generous, sometimes challenging, and almost always a grand adventure. In short, I want to be with people like you. And this from Margaret Wheatley, turning to one another. There is no power greater than a community discovering what it cares about. Ask what's possible, not what's wrong. Keep asking. Notice what you care about. Assume that many others share your dreams. Be brave enough to start a conversation that matters. Talk to people you know, talk to people you don't know, talk to people you never talk to. Be intrigued by the differences you hear. Expect to be surprised. Treasure curiosity more than certainty. Invite in everybody who cares to work on what's possible. Acknowledge that everyone is an expert about something. Know that creative solutions come from new connections. Remember, you don't fear people whose story you know. Real listening always brings people closer together. Trust that meaningful conversations can change your world. Rely on human goodness. Stay together.
Thank you, choir. My heart is full of gratitude for that. And particular thanks to Taylor, who wrote that entire arrangement of this song herself for this moment. Thank you. Gorgeous. A total solar eclipse happens tomorrow for parts of Mexico, the United States, and Canada. I know it's all over the news. We're all thinking about it and talking about it. I've loved watching how excited people are about this event. Hotels and Airbnbs in the United States are completely booked and have been for weeks along the path of totality from Texas to Maine. That means in red states and blue states, there is something about a natural event like this that sparks our awareness of interconnectedness. For approximately, depending on where you are, for approximately 3 minutes and 38 seconds, for those in the path of totality, how we experience the universe will be completely upended. Even in states not in the path of totality, people are buying solar eclipse glasses, schools are planning eclipse events. As Michael Meade says, the hundreds of millions of modern people who feel instinctively driven to observe this rare heavenly event are not acting out of simple curiosity, but are knowingly or not being drawn to the underlying sense that we are connected to the heavens, that we are interconnected with the cosmos itself. While reading articles this week about how weird and wonderful this eclipse will be, another article in the Atlantic magazine caught my imagination, not about the eclipse, but about something even more mind-blowing and mind-bending. This is about a year old, but I'm just catching up. New scientific understandings of our connection with the universe. The main headline is, "Scientists found ripples in time and space, and you have to buy groceries." Subheading, "We've just learned that the whole universe is humming around us. Now what?" From the article. The whole universe is humming. Actually, the whole universe is Mongolian throat singing. Every star, every planet, every continent, every building, every person is vibrating along to the slow cosmic beat. That's the takeaway from the remarkable announcement that scientists have detected a cosmic background of ripples in the structure of space and time. If the results bear up as more data are gathered, it's a discovery that promises to open new windows on everything from the evolution of galaxies to the origin of the universe. The article then goes on to explain Einstein's radical general theory of relativity in fairly simple terms, explaining how space and time are not two things, but rather space-time is a single entity, comprising a flexible fabric that could be stretched and compressed, bent and warped, just like snapping a bed sheet. If you move enough matter around fast enough, a wave of distorted space-time will ripple outward into the universe. Scientists have been looking for phenomena that could produce such a gravitational wave background. Perhaps, they theorize, the culprits are the zillions of supermassive black holes, some billions of times heavier than the sun, that reside at the center of every galaxy. This is where my brain sort of goes offline. Partly because I'm not Einstein, so it's hard to understand the complexities of Einstein, but also because the phrase zillions of supermassive black holes, some billions of times heavier than the sun, is too vast for my brain to comprehend. I am left not so much with understanding, but with awe, a kind of giddy confusion. And it gets even better. Scientists believe they have proved this gravitational wave background exists. Here's what that would mean. Over the course of a decade and a half, a team of astronomers from around the world working together as the North American Nanohertz Observational for Gravitational Waves, aka NanoGrav, this team of astronomers have pored over their machines, their numbers, and their mathematical theory to bring us proof that something miraculous, something wonderful is happening right under our noses. Actually, it's happening to our noses and the rest of our bodies as well. Every gravitational wave in that background the nanograv team found is humming through the very constitution of the space, this space you inhabit right now. Every proton and neutron in every atom from the tip of your toes to the top of your head is shifting, shuttling, and vibrating in a collective purr within which the entire history of the universe is implicated. And if you put your hand down on a chair or a table or anything else nearby, that object too is dancing that slow waltz with you. The gravitational wave background is huge news for the cosmos, yes, but the article says it's also huge news for you. The nature of reality has not changed. You will not suddenly be able to detect vibrations in your morning coffee that you couldn't see before. And yet, moments like these can and should change how each of us sees this world. All of a sudden, we know that we are humming in tune with the entire universe, that each of us contains the signature of everything that has ever been. It's all within us, around us, pushing us to and fro as we hurtle through the cosmos. The article concludes. Today, gifted with a new understanding of the architecture of the universe, each of us has an opportunity to revisit wonder. After you finish reading this, take a look around you. Ponder how the solid seeming ground beneath your feet is quietly shaking with the force of billions of years of cosmic collisions. Go outside if you can and watch the wind blow through the trees. Perhaps the experience will be different now that you know how the rhythm of giant black holes in distant galaxies also beats out a time in the trees' gentle swaying. In other words, the movement of zillions of black holes, zillions of miles away, shimmers in our hands, shimmers in our hymnals. The interdependent web of all existence isn't just around us, it is within us. This is interdependence on a cosmic scale. To listen for the hum that sings throughout creation, to attune our senses to it, and to join in the song. But how do we take that vastness and turn it into interdependence on a human scale, on a relational scale, on an ethical scale? Unitarian Universalism has something to say about that. Unitarian Universalist religious educator Emily C. Jones created a video, a handy guide to the values of Unitarian Universalism, in order to remember the new proposed Article 2 values. These values will be voted on by delegates to this summer's UU General Assembly, and if adopted, will become an updated way to articulate what is at the core of our faith. They are printed on your order of service cover. This month, we are considering the value of interdependence. In her video, Jones goes through all of the values. They can be in any order, but this handy way of learning them, each one has a number. This is one of those things that is theoretically designed for kids in our religious education program, but is a great way for people of all ages to remember the values. For me, it almost feels like an embodied prayer or meditation. I'll share a summary that includes some, but not all, of Emily Jones's words. I can send out the video. It is delightful, so you can see her full explanation. Feel free to play along if you want. First, A handy way to remember our values, proposed values. First, for the theme we considered last month, the value of transformation, Jones invites the viewer to imagine your fist like a seed. Now slowly unfurl your pointer finger like it's a sprout coming from the seed. As your seed grows, it will look like the number 1, and that's how you can remember the first value of transformation, which means to adapt to a changing world and to grow spiritually. Second, equity. 2 fingers turned sideways look like an equal sign. Everyone should be treated with inherent worth and dignity and treated as equals. We believe in equity. Third, pluralism. Hold up 3 fingers and imagine 3 people with different ideas about God and who may have different cultures or experiences. Pluralism is being able to hold many views at once and learn from each other. 4, justice. Take your 4 fingers and curl them into a fist and hold them up high. This is a sign of strength. We need to be strong to dismantle racism and fight for justice. 5 is generosity. Open your hand softly and hold it out as though you are giving someone a gift. Generosity means to share the things you have that make a difference to others, like faith, presence, and resources. 6, love. With your hands still open in this posture of generosity, hold up a 6th finger. Use your pointer finger of one hand to trace a heart in the center of your other hand. Love is at the center of all of our values. 7, our theme this month is where it all comes together, interdependence. This is a word that means we're all connected to each other. Hold up 7 fingers and walk your 2 fingers from one hand to the palm of the other. Then kneel down and take a closer look. Do you see how your palm is full of connecting lines and veins like a web? Kneel down for a closer look at interdependence, where love is held, which is in our own hands. Closer still. Do you feel how you are humming in tune with the entire universe? Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Connecting with the cosmic hum on a human scale is one reason, I think, why we go to church. To know in our bones the truth that we are connected, and then to live with this ethic of interdependence guiding us. At the end of this month, I'll be preaching about the opposite of this, about the pain of disconnection, loneliness, and the longing to belong. But spoiler alert for that sermon, the antidote to the epidemic of loneliness, according to the Surgeon General, is the healing effects of social connection and community. There is an epidemic of loneliness in the United States, an epidemic of loneliness in Northfield. And we have what heals here at UUFN, community. Writer Anne Lamott tells this story about finding community when she most needed it as a single mom. This is a story about why church matters. An excerpt from Why I Make Sam, her son, Why I Make Sam Go to Church. Sam is the only kid he knows who goes to church, who is made to go to church 2 or 3 times a month. He rarely wants to. This is not exactly true. The truth is he never wants to go. What young boy would rather be in church on weekends than hanging out with a friend? It doesn't help him to be reminded that once he's there, he enjoys himself, that he gets to spend time drawing in the little room outside the sanctuary, that he only actually has to sit still and listen during the short children's sermon. It does not help that I always pack some snacks, some Legos, his art supplies, and bring along any friend of his whom we can lure into our churchy web. It does not help that he genuinely cares for the people there. All that matters to him is that he is alone among his colleagues and forced to spend Sunday morning at church. You might think, noting his bitterness, the resignation that he was being made to sit through a 6-hour Latin Mass, or you might wonder why I make this strapping, exuberant boy come with me most weeks. And if you were to ask, this is what I would say: I make him because I can. I outweigh him by nearly 75 pounds. But that's only part of it. The main reason is that I want to give him what I found in this world, which is to say, a path and a little light to see by. Most of the people I know who have what I want, which is to say, purpose, heart, balance, gratitude, joy, are people with a deep sense of spirituality. They are people in community who pray or practice their faith. They are Buddhists, Jews, Christians, people banding together to work on themselves and for human rights. They follow a brighter light than the glimmer of their own candle. They are part of something beautiful. What we offer here at UUFN is a path and a little light to see by. What we find here are people who have what so many long for, which is to say, purpose, heart, balance, gratitude, joy, people with a deep sense of spirituality, people banding together to work on themselves and for human rights, people who follow a brighter light than the glimmer of their own candle. We are a part of something beautiful. Or in the words of the Article 2, Value of Interdependence, here we covenant to create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality and justice. We create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality and justice. Anne Lamott continues her story of why she makes her son Sam go to church. Sam was welcomed and prayed for at St. Andrews 7 months before he was even born. When I announced during worship that I was pregnant, people cheered. All these old people raised in Bible-thumping homes in the deep South clapped. Even the women whose grown-up boys had been or were doing time in jails or prisons rejoiced for me. It was so amazing. I was single, only recently sober, and I had no money. So immediately, they set out to providing for us. They brought clothes, they brought furniture, they brought me casseroles to keep in the freezer, and they brought me assurance that this baby was going to be part of a family. And they began slipping me money. Now, a number of the older women lived pretty close to the bone financially on small Social Security checks. But routinely, they sidled up to me and stuffed bills in my pockets, 10s and 20s. It was always done so stealthily that you might have thought they were slipping me bindles of cocaine. One of the most consistent donors was a very old woman named Mary Williams, who is in her mid-80s now, so beautiful with her crushed hat and her hallelujahs. She always brought me plastic baggies full of dimes, closed with little wire twists. I was usually filled with a sense of something like shame until I remember that wonderful line of Blake's, that we are here to learn to endure the beams of love. We are here to learn to endure the beams of love. And so I would take a long, deep breath and force these words out of my strangulated throat. Thank you. Sam loves Mary Williams, and she loves him, and she still brings us baggies full of dimes, even though I'm doing so much better now. It's funny, I always imagined when I was a kid that adults had some kind of inner toolbox full of shiny tools, a saw of discernment, the hammer of wisdom, the sandpaper of patience. But then when I grew up, I found that life handed you these rusty, bent old tools: friendship, prayer, conscience, honesty, and said, do the best you can with these, they will have to do. And mostly, against all odds, they're enough. We are handed rusty, bent old tools, tools handed down to us well used that we will hand down to our children. And with these tools, transformation, equity, pluralism, justice, generosity, love, interdependent. With these tools, we widen the circle. With these tools, we create sacred space for each other to share our joys and sorrows, celebrating and grieving together. We create sacred space to challenge each other as well, having honest conversations about how we can become more trans-inclusive, more accessible, more welcoming for people of all ages, more anti-racist. For in the words of Reverend Vale Weller, adapted, I believe this church changes lives for the better and that we are only getting started. We know that our religious education program enriches the children beyond measure. We know that the comfort our care team members provide means the world to those who are cared for. We know that the music ministry of this church heals hearts and opens spirits. And there are so many things we'll never see. The teenager who decides not to commit suicide because this congregation affirmed them as they questioned their sexuality. We'll not know for years about the young children currently attending our church who will be called to enter the UU ministry, affecting thousands of other lives in the future. And there are many of us here who have changed the very course of our lives because of something we have learned here, or felt here, or touched here, or because God or our deeper knowing has spoken to us here. If you feel that your life has been enriched because you are part of this congregation, raise your hand. And so now, at this threshold moment in the history of UUFN, we are called to create more sacred space here, literally more space. Space for a usable kitchen on Sunday mornings and for memorial services and weddings and community events. Space for more religious education classrooms for the SAMs who have yet to come through our doors. Space that is accessible for all bodies. So let's make this happen. This weekend, 14 dedicated, insightful, fun, and funny members of UUFN were trained by Stewardship for Us consultant, Rachel Maxwell, to be visiting stewards for our capital campaign launch. They were not trained in how to guilt, shame, or manipulate you into giving lots of money, because that would be gross. They were trained and shared ideas about how to have conversations that are joyful and connecting. Conversations that talk about money, yes, and that also talk about values and dreams. Every member of UUFN will be getting a call this week from a visiting steward to schedule a time for a conversation. If you are not a member but would still like a visit, please let me know. In just a moment, these visiting stewards will come forward to create a covenant with the congregation. This covenant is the foundational, relational start of our capital campaign. Will the visiting stewards please come forward? As they are making their way, I will also note that Nita and Larry are also visiting stewards but could not be here this morning. Members, please refer to the insert in your order of service. It will also be on the screens. Newcomers and friends, please bear witness to the promises that are made here today, for you are included in our circle of care. Visiting stewards, will you begin the covenant, please?
We are here before you, committed to doing our best to make our congregation's dreams come true, by asking each of you to connect with us as we do our part to widen the circle. Committed to the hopes and dreams of this congregation, we accept the responsibility for turning those hopes and dreams into reality. We commit ourselves with open hearts to make personal connections and build community with you. We commit ourselves to make time in our busy lives to have a stewardship visit. We commit to prepare for the conversation by reflecting upon our relationship with the congregation and to welcome a visiting steward for warm conversation. We commit ourselves to listen generously and respectfully to your dreams and concerns. We promise to keep private what should be kept private and pass along only the information that we have agreed can be shared. We commit ourselves to generosity of spirit and promise to support our congregation to the best of our ability. And together we commit ourselves to respect each other's ideas, perceptions, and beliefs, and to enjoy each other's company while raising funds to ensure the future health of our congregation.
Based in covenantal relationships and an ethic of interdependence, I hereby declare that our capital campaign is now launched. Woohoo! Let's sing about it. Everyone, please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 1028, Fire of Commitment.
Our minds and souls
You may be seated. The celebration continues after the service today with cake and treats and time for conversation and connection. Sue has an extra announcement, a little bit of extra instructions for us.
Because this is Earth Month, the Green Team decided we would try to make our expanded coffee hour here just a little greener. So we're using the napkins that Gail so graciously made for us, and the basket under the table. Okay, the basket under the table is where we'll put our dirty napkins. If this works, we might consider in the future using this as our system. It can just be Susie or I's, because we're on the team today. Will take these home and wash them, and we don't have to use any paper napkins at all. Yeah. So we'll see how this works. Yeah.
For those on Zoom, but you have more.
And they're compostable plates today because we have a lot of food here. You might find you need a plate, and those plates, please put in here so that they can be taken and be composted. And there is lots of food today.
Thank you, Sue. For those on Zoom, the announcement was about ways that the Green Team is trying to make our coffee hour today more sustainable. So we are widening the circle of interdependence to include the earth. So that's what that announcement was for those who couldn't hear it on Zoom. And now our closing words. There is no power greater than a community discovering what it cares about. We are moving in wider circles. We are opening our circle. We are moving in wider circles. We are opening our circle. May it be so, and may we make it so. We join together in the words for the extinguishing of the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please rise, embody your spirit with your hand over your heart or holding the hand of one next to you. We sing words of blessing one to another. Go in peace.